Welcome to the Gaming Coop, the best space to never talk about NFTs. Let's introduce today's players. Player 1. Hey, did you guys realize we can make Player 1 say whatever we want him to in these intros? It's Chris.
Very meta.
Player 2. Ate the plums that were in the icebox. You know, the ones you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive him, they were delicious. So sweet and so cold. It's Gabe.
What?
Player 3. Here in this podcast, we have a zero-tolerance policy on zombification, so you better not hide those fucking bites. It's Anthony.
Don't hide them. We'll find out.
Player 4. This gamer likes to throw ground beef around his kitchen and set off the fire alarms. It's Matt. And Player 5. Player 5. Make sure Lydia carries all of her burdens. It's Kelsey.
Hey.
Fucking balls of ground beef.
We're never going to be able to get through these intros without laughing, are we?
It's hey,
I
listen.
don't know. I got the giggles tonight. I'm sorry.
It's the ground beef did it. You said you do your best work on the whim. I will say that. Anyways, welcome to the Coop. We do not have our buddy Walsh here tonight, so we will power on without him. We will still have a fun little mid-segment planned. But today's topic is all about licensed games. We are going to talk about the games that are from other intellectual properties outside of video games. And it's going to be beautiful. And we're going to start with me. For me, a game that means the world to me, a game that is in my favorites all time. But I'm going to start myself talking about this game with a little quiz that I'm going to have Mr. Matt take real quick. All right?
Okay.
I want you to guess the amount of time between the release of Simpsons Hit and Run and Battle for Bikini Bottom.
I'm going to go with a scarily short amount of time within... I'm going to set it at within 3 months of each other.
Within 3 months each other. 45 days was the amount of time between two of my favorite games of all time. 2003 was legit. September 16th, 2003 was when Hit and Run came out. October 31st was when Battle for Bikini Bottom came out, which is very weird because Hit and Run is actually based in Halloween and Battle for Bikini Bottom is not. So how does that work? I don't know. So The Simpsons Hit and Run is a PlayStation 2... I call it a PlayStation 2 game, but I think it was on all the platforms around that time. And it essentially was the open world Simpsons game that no one ever thought would ever happen, I guess. I don't know. Like, it's weird. It's a weird idea to think that you would have an open world Simpsons game, but here we are. The Simpsons Hit and Run, basically the premise is... well, I'll just explain the intro video where you're in the skies where you usually see like the Simpsons logo come out. You hear the Simpsons, but this time that does not happen. Instead, a green orb light opens up in the sky, and a bunch of these wasps come out that are actually like these like cameras that are kind of like spying on human population. And we cut to Homer, sitting on the couch, who is being spied on by the wasp cameras, but he doesn't know it. But he is watching, a TV commercial where Krusty is introducing this new product called Buzz Cola. That is this amazing get up and go, everything you need to, put on your underpants, whatever, to go and tackle the day. Buzz Cola. And legitimately, that's the premise. That is the start of the game, and that sets up a series of events that is what you would best describe is a Simpsons game. The gameplay is really just it's basically a parody of Grand Theft Auto, where you are driving around in a car to different locations, and you are doing things that are either borderline or very much illegal. You do have a tracker that the more illegal things you do, the more likely you're going to be started to be hunted by the police, and at some point you can be tracked down by the police if you have the meter go up all the way. And so, but a lot of the different missions in the game revolve around, like, the very first mission in the game, after the tutorial mission is, that Lisa, you play as Homer in the first level, and Lisa left her science project behind, and you need to get it to the school before Principal Skinner shows up. And you have to race Principal Skinner to the school, and then go inside the school and deliver the science project to Lisa. And then the next few missions later, you are late for work, but Mr. Smithers is out and about, and if you get the Plow King, which is the big snow plow vehicle that Homer used, you can basically drive Mr. Smithers off the road in that game, and you're trying to destroy his vehicle. And it's just these conglomerate of weird missions that involve driving around. Sometimes just involves collecting a bunch of things in a certain amount of time limit. There's a lot of different customizations. You have a bunch of different vehicles that you can purchase or acquire in some capacity. You have a bunch of different outfits as well that you could put Homer in, and that's Homer's just the first level. You actually get to play as a bunch of the Simpsons characters throughout the game. Ultimately that you have like the main mission structure, which is basically like 7 missions per level and 7 levels in all. But then you also have side things. You have a bonus mission that you can do to get someone to help drive you around for the rest of the game. You can have you could do street races if you wanted to. You can do a gambling race where you can gamble how many a certain amount of coins and try to beat a certain amount of time to race around an entire world, essentially an entire level, I should say. And this all probably sounds very confusing. It's because it's a lot. It's a very strange game, but was my childhood. It is a game that I love dearly. I think it's just a bizarre open world setting that like is so The Simpsons, but at the same time is a almost family friendly-ish like GTA spin-off, like, but it's really, really good. Like, the driving around is fun. I think the writing is very good. It definitely has not aged well. There is an entire level where you play as Apu, and everything related to Apu, I think we have all gone over it in the Simpsons fandom, about how, Apu in terms of the voice actor specifically is kind of problematic, and there's also just a lot of different parts here and there that's like, okay, this is definitely not aged well, but I still think it's one of the best licensed games ever made. And like, if you go online, you see this game show up a lot, and it just was such a large game for something that didn't necessarily have to be that, and it's just such a fun adventure that really goes to a lot of different places. Has anyone else played the Simpsons Hit and Run?
No, but I really should.
I have.
Yeah.
Growing up, my brother and I, we both had very fond memories of this game. Primarily because the game scared the shit out of me when I was a wee young lad. Like, there's a part of the game where Bart gets abducted, and that part like stuck with me for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
and it just terrified me. But I still love the game because of how much freedom that you have, just driving around and causing mischief in the Simpsons world.
Yeah, and it should be noted that it's not. It is an open world, but there's like 3 different worlds that you could
There's,
be in, essentially.
There's downtown.
Yeah.
There's downtown. What else?
It was I don't know if they have like specific names, but like there's like the main like neighborhood that everyone pretty much knows, with like the school and the power plant and things like that. And then there's, like you said, like the downtown area that has like the police station and has a lot of different like DMV. And then there's a third area in the game that's like near the beach, and it has like the observatory there. It has Krusty Studios there. It has, and basically across 7 levels, you kind of like bounce in like a cycle between those 3 levels. And even though you don't have like the huge open world, that just the one open world like in the regular GTA games, it's still like it's still kind of a substantial open world that you can kind of look into every nook and cranny and find some sort of secret in the game.
Yeah, my childhood was your childhood, so I also had experience with this game. And it definitely just is. I'm not a Simpsons fan, but it is like dripping with nostalgia, and pretty much all of my Simpsons knowledge comes from that game, which is probably is accurate in some ways and not in others. I do not remember the Apu level, but I believe you. But what I think is interesting is that, like, just speaking to that, like, little bit of controversy in particular and how things don't age well, and that in particular, and you mentioned the voice actor. What I think is really cool in this particular instance, because we have so many instances of white actors playing problematic roles and not being, in the attempt of holding them accountable, it ends up just being messy and people don't get it. This is an example of an actor, I think, hearing themselves being called in to reflect on what's going on and swiftly saying, wow, you're right, and thank you for bringing my attention to this, and like willingly stepping aside and wanting to work with everybody involved to make sure that it's corrected. Yeah. And I think that is like really cool. And I really like Hank Azaria anyway, and it was not necessarily that he is problematic, but rather that the character and the characterization and the exploitation of the stereotype that Apu served as is the problem. And he actually voices Chief Wiggum and like a whole bunch of other people on the show as well.
It's nuts how many characters he voices.
Yeah, and then he was also the butler in the Birdcage, if everybody remembers that. I love him in that role. But he also was Carl Carlson, and he stopped voicing Carl Carlson also because that is a black character and he is not. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's really cool.
And not just Hank, all of the characters of color on The Simpsons are now voiced by actors of that mm-hmm. race.
Yeah, and
so like as an example, Dr. Hibbert is now voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson.
Okay, right. Cool.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So cool that they actually made a point to do it. There was one really weird episode though when they like took Apu out of the series, where it didn't feel like the showrunners were fully taking responsibility.
Okay.
So that's a little strange.
Yeah.
Okay.
It even ended with Lisa of all characters being like, "Man, how could they be so upset with something they loved so much?"
Interesting.
So yeah. But that was I don't know, whenever the movie The Problem with Apu came out, which I think was like 2018, 2019.
It was 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the voice actor changes happened in 2020.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I actually don't know if Apu is back yet. I'm watching through The Simpsons right now, and I'm around 2015.
Okay.
So I will let you know when I get to those episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think just bringing it back to Hit and Run, there is so many people that want this game remade, and I do too. I would love to have this game be experienced by people who missed it, back in the day, who don't have access to PlayStation 2, even if it's just like a re-release on more modern platforms.
Yeah.
But it is the idea that if they could just do a re-release, but if they do want to do a up and down
Hit and Run rehydrated.
Rehydrate, right? Like if they want to do like a rehydrate-esque game, and they want to kind of build it from the ground up again, I would just wonder how they do address Apu, because I can't specifically remember if they play super into Apu's stereotypes in Hit and Run.
Well, I think the problem is that Apu like is a stereotype.
Right.
Like it's like you can't not, if you're gonna have the character present, it's a lot of introspective work that has to be done, and the creator Matt Groening is he, I know that like he had said that they wanted to keep Apu on the show, but it was that like I don't think that they've reassigned a voice actor, so I don't know. I think that it's probably a sticky situation, because if the character was written as a stereotype, what kind of work do you do to renege on that? Like, how do you figure out how to it's not even just reassigning an actor to portray. It's still, they would still then be portraying a stereotype. So like, what do you do? Like, I don't know. It's tricky. And I'm speaking from somebody who is white. I have no idea how to fucking do that. And but I commend everybody for, Hari Kondabolu is the comedian who did the documentary originally. If people who recognize these harmful stereotypes do not speak out, the media will never change. So I think that even if it results in a loss of Apu, it's better for it, unfortunately. But that's exactly why I brought up what I brought up, was because I know that you had spoken about a re-release. And I'm just curious to see how that, I think that it's important that we all sit in these uncomfortable conversations to recognize where harm is done and do what we can to fix it. So, I very much just, I thought the game was a lot of fun, even though I had no idea what the hell was going on. I didn't even remember some of what you're talking about just now with the plot. I was like, I just remember driving around as Homer and intentionally hitting things and him going, "Don't," every time he smacked into a telephone pole or whatever. So I do remember the bees.
Just like the show.
Now that you said something about it, I forgot about the bees, but now I remember them.
And then there was also, I think you definitely did play a little bit of Hit and Run.
There was another one though.
You played a lot of Road Rage, I remember.
I don't know which one I'm thinking of now.
If you remember the Wasps, then you definitely did dabble in Hit and Run, but yeah, Road Rage was a whole nother layer. That was basically a Crazy Taxi parody that you had like 7 or 8 different worlds where you basically could do like, you can hit like a bunch of different areas and hey, there's this person that you need to drive to this area, and you had like the Sunday Drive, and where you could just do it on your own, and then they had the time segments where you could make money off of it. So they had a lot of different elements to that game as well. So it's Hit and Run is just Hit and Run was basically Road Rage but with a lot more depth. And just real quick, if they do end up doing a remake and they do say, you know what, let's just say, let's put Apu aside for this, let's maybe restructure the story a little bit, I could see them doing like a Chief Wiggum level, because he's very heavily involved in the plot. They could do Cletus. Cletus, I know, is part of it. They could have Cletus be in there. Like, I don't know. There's a few different areas where I could see them going with it. Maybe they even do one of the kids, like they have Millhouse or Ralph Wiggum end up taking the spot as for that particular level that I'm talking about. But regardless, I'm fascinated to see how they would handle it if they did remake it. But I just know in my heart that I would love to see them at least, bring it to modern platforms, let people experience that game, because I think it's a lot of fun, and it's just it's a fun. I enjoy it more than any of the GTA games, and I've played like 3 of them at this point, 1 all the way through. But this, like, to me, it's Hit and Run's just fantastic. All right. And if we have nothing else to add, we will be moving forward. So we have, we have the TV shows and the movies that, video games get made of. But of course, there's just corporations that just want to get throw their cash into the video game world. And that's where 7-Up comes in with a game called Cool Spot. Gabe, what the fuck is Cool Spot?
Okay, so Cool Spot is a shameless product placement game that was developed for the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo back in the 90s. And It's quite interesting, especially for what it is, like just being a hellish 7-Up, like just everything about it is just 7-Up.
Yeah.
And it's a 2D platformer that you have to explore each of the stages to find different dots, different pieces of the 7-Up logo, which is like the red dots in it. I'm not exactly sure what it is that you're finding.
I think you're on the right track. I think it's like the 7-Up. It's the 7-Up like dot that you're collecting essentially. Even though you are the you are the spot.
But yeah, you're exploring all these stages, collecting these dots in order to progress, and you save another one of your kind, the anthropomorphized version of the 7-Up spot. And you just keep progressing through the stages. And there are also special bonus stages where you're quite literally jumping on the fizzy bubbles inside a 7-Up bottle. And you're collecting one piece of the 7-Up logo. And that's how you get your bonus points and extra lives and stuff like that. And the reason why I'm talking about it today is because, one, I couldn't really come up with a special type of licensed game that you all aren't already talking about, but also because I do have a bit of fond memories with it because I used to play it on my grandpa's old Sega Genesis when I was a really young kid, and I remember enjoying it a lot. But looking back on it now, it looks like it's very interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
Is that crab wearing underwear?
Yeah.
Sure is.
They're a corporation that they really need to make sure that they don't have like any bad press. They don't want any I guess crab genitalia.
Wow. I just like that Go Cubs is like, sure is. Like,
We're gonna put when we make merch, crab genitalia is gonna be one of the first brandings we do.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Anthony, can you are now punished. You must say exactly what you just said in the
No,
chat
don't
out
make
loud.
me say it.
Okay, now.
Don't make me say it.
Okay, all right.
I can say it. I'll say it. Because it's my husband. So, what is this thing? Wait, can we just describe what the picture is?
That is the cool spot.
That is
the cool spot. Okay, so this cool spot looks like he's sweating and he's wearing sunglasses, and it's a very dramatic shot. He's surfing. And my beautiful husband wrote, "My face when I put a turd in the air fryer for 450 degrees for an hour." And that is why Anthony doesn't get to use the kitchen.
I love it. Sorry, Anthony. I was just like,
Oh, I'm not sorry. I want to put him on blast all the time. I'm happy. I'm always happy when we have a goddamn fucking audience to listen to this shenanigans, because I seem crazy because I'm at home with him all the time and I got to listen to it. So now we got witnesses. So when I lose my brain in another 2 years and I don't know what's going on, they could be like, "Oh, well, she lived with him, so we have evidence," and that is why.
So this particular game, it is bizarre that the first time that I saw this was when you brought it up a few days ago, Gabe, when we were discussing what to talk about, and so it looks like the game, because I'm watching gameplay of it now, it looks like he's bouncing around to different. You know what it actually looks like? It looks like Donkey Kong Country reskinned a little bit because it has like the climbing ropes along like in a lot of the stages, but on top of that he also has like a gun feature where he's like shooting 7-Up,
Shooting little fizzy bubbles.
Yeah,
of course, that makes sense.
Yeah, and but like now I want to know what the anatomy of a cool spot is. Like, is it just like a container filled with 7-Up, like unlimited supply? Like, is he shooting his blood at these?
Whoa.
At these enemies? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm very curious.
I like to think it's his sweat.
Oh. Wow.
No further questions.
I gotta say, for the most part, I didn't think that we'd ever end up with this conversation. And Chris, I'm surprised that you're saying that you did not know about this before Gabe mentioned it, because I'm surprised this wasn't more mainstream. This has everything that anybody would ever want. It's like a spree candy on steroids running around.
Wow.
I will say this, we won't get a chance to talk about it this episode, but another thing that I brought up to Gabe when we were initially talking about this, and what Anthony just posted too in the chat, Pepsi Man, I think, is maybe one of the more iconic product placement video games. In terms of just the absurd meme that Pepsi Man has become. I feel like, compared to what Pepsi did, this is more tasteful. Cool spot. Like, Pepsi Man is just this overtly muscular, insane guy that is just running through into, like, it's like a auto runner, I think it is, where, and then, like, at the end of the game, like, a real life person in like a chair is like cheering you on.
Not at the end of the game, throughout the game.
Oh, throughout the game he's there.
Throughout the game. Did you know that the guy in Pepsi Man in those commercials or in those interludes was in Saw 5?
Oh my god.
Great, wonderful. Was he Pepsi Man in Saw 5? Because that, I feel like that would be...
I would watch Saw 5.
Yeah, I would too. Like, that would be amazing. I would be like, yeah, Pepsi Man gonna just like break the... Isn't Saw the one where like you would like the guy that like forces everyone to play games?
Yeah.
Deadly games? Yeah, like just breaking like the Saw guy in half.
No,
like I feel like that's what Pepsi Man could do.
That's Squid Games.
Squid Games, right, yeah.
I'm topical. I said the Squid
I'm
Games.
topical, like lotion.
God damn it. Yeah. I think that's everything that can be said about Cool Spot. But does anyone else have anything to add about this very strange game?
I have an empty bottle of 7-Up next to me, if that means anything.
I have
You've been corrupted.
I have a lime seltzer in my hands.
I just like that he goes, if that means anything. Like, what do you want from us? Like, what do you mean if that means anything?
We are surrounded by lime drinks at the moment. So there you go. All right. We're actually going to shift. We went from fun-loving games to really horrific games. We're going into zombie apocalypse with World War Z. Anthony, go ahead.
So, just administrative housekeeping. I just shared some links in the chat for you guys to see. And it's just gameplay clips I took while playing World War Z. It's just going to, like, add to the conversation I'm having so you guys can visualize.
And give you an anxiety attack. It's just, it's meant to set the mood.
Yeah, I also like how Anthony set this up as if it was like a town board meeting. Like, I like this.
Yeah, administrative housekeeping notes.
We're gonna go over the minutes.
I was gonna say, take the minutes. Somebody take the minutes.
It reminds me of, oh god, it's giving me like war flashbacks of covering village meetings. All right, go ahead, Anthony.
So, World War Z. The first time I was exposed to World War Z was watching the movie, and I thought it was a really good zombie movie because most zombie movies tend to focus more on jump scares and tragic deaths that like come as a shock, but World War Z focused more on actually solving the zombie problem, and it took you all over the world. It had characters that made smart decisions, and they actually had an ending that was good and made sense. So I always really loved it. And next, I read the book, and it is one of my favorite books of all time. The book is set up kind of interview style, where the author is interviewing people all over the world and providing a retrospective on the zombie apocalypse. And one chapter is somebody who smuggled humans across landlocked borders when everything was going into lockdown, even when they knew that they were transporting people who were zombies, but they didn't care because they were getting paid. And another chapter covers the Battle of Yonkers, where the U.S. military failed to eliminate all the zombies in New York and got overwhelmed. And other chapters cover heroes and just ordinary people experiencing it. And it's really has so much detail and depth to it, and just an incredible book. You really get to know an event that never happened but seems like it did. And this week I picked up the game. I was like, oh my god, I have never played any licensed games before. And I was like, well, you know, I like World War Z. I guess I can just kind of play this game a few hours to talk about it. Because I always heard that it was not very good. And I'm like, oh my god, of course they're making another zombie game. But...
Okay, wait, I'm sorry. Can I just interject for a second? You are a whore for zombie games. Do not sit here and pretend that you're like, another zombie game. You like, your nipples harden. You're like, yeah, zombie game. Like, do not.
Whatever.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Well, what I mean is, like, it takes a lot for a game to, like, kind of separate itself. They all play very similarly.
Yeah.
And sometimes you really want that. And other times you're like, I just got a zombie game. Like, why would I want to play this? The first thing I noticed is that when you load into the game, there are 7 chapters. And each chapter takes place in a new region of the world. So the first one is in New York. And then they have a chapter in Tokyo, in Russia, in Jerusalem. And each new region has a new set of 4 survivors that your team plays through. And each survivor has their own backstory, and most of them have unique voice actors too. And the characters, most of them don't come from military backgrounds, and they're just average everyday people who just ended up in this and are trying to get out of this. The character I liked the most when I played them was this hacker who just happened to hack into the Department of Defense before everything went down, and they could sort of tell that there is a large-scale event that everybody was afraid of, and that gave them more time than most other people to prepare for it. And the gameplay itself, it's a third-person shooter with a few levels in each, country's region. Throughout each level, you find these weapons scattered around, and you pick a class that kind of determines what you're strong with and what you start each level with. And as you complete these levels, you gain experience in your class and the weapons that you used, and this unlocks upgrades and choices for you. So you can turn a weapon, like let's say one of its paths turns it into a silenced weapon. So you can take out zombies without attracting a horde of them. But the other version of the weapon is much better at longer ranges. And so you get to make really interesting choices like that. And I think that's one of the things that I really appreciated about this game. A lot of games in the genre, like Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood, they're kind of like, yeah, you can like put different skins on your weapons if you want, but like just to make things fair, it is what it is. But this game kind of sees that there's value in player retention in progression paths. So I thought that was cool. And
did you say that this was a single player game, or you could do co-op with this?
You could do co-op with this, yep.
Okay.
But you can also play it single player. There are bots that join you. And the levels are pretty good. They have a lot of detail that grounds them in the country that they're in. And they feel pretty expansive even though they're linear. Every level that I've played has a set piece where you have to hunker down and you're going to see like a literal tsunami of zombies coming at you from the horizon. You see them like start running and they look really small, and then they start like running over cars, running over rooftops, and then they disappear from view behind something else, and then they come over that, and before you know it, they're right in front of you, and you'll literally see hundreds of zombies all swarming at you all at once. And even if you're above them, like let's say you're on top of a building and they're in the street, they will all start to form mounds and climb on top of each other and create these moving piles until some of them can get to the top and reach up and then run towards you again. And it sets up these really kind of anxiety-inducing moments where it's like, okay, I have to reload my weapon because I have no shots left. Do I have enough ammunition for the rest of the horde? Am I going to reload this fast enough? If just 3 zombies get to you, they can knock you over. And at that point, you're helpless until your teammates help you, and you can even die. And you can take out chunks of them with explosives. You can set up traps sometimes, but there's always a risk of not looking all around you. Sometimes they can come from your left or your right when you're focused on just the main choke point. And it's really in these spots that the game shines. And it's also where it's a little bit rough, because the difficulty in this game, you can take out each zombie with just a single bullet. They're not one of those things where it's like the enemies are bullet sponges or need to be shot in the head. I think that's to the benefit because there's hundreds at a time. But it also means that on higher difficulties, your team can go down really easily. Especially when they start adding like special zombies into the mix that take more time and attention to take down. I played it on the easiest difficulty and had a good time. At one point they bumped me up to normal difficulty and I failed to level 3 times in a row and just left. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Because you can kind of change your build for the more open-ended sections, but you'll always reach that set piece where it's like, okay, now you have to face 500 of them, make it work, and it doesn't always work out. So I found that part a little bit stressful. And I think also a detriment is the story. One of the best parts of the World War Z book was that it didn't spend too long on any individual person or story or region, but you still got an overall understanding of how things worked, how it happened, how people came back, that kind of thing. The game kind of toys with that idea, but doesn't really pull it off. I like that each region has a separate set of characters. It feels a lot more grounded that way. But they never build these characters up or develop them, and the stories that they tell with the characters aren't so much stories as they are kind of situations, you know? They got out. Okay, that's cool. Mm-hmm. I only completed one of the chapters, and I know that the expansion was called Aftermath. So I'm hoping that as I play through more of it, and especially play the Aftermath chapters, we're going to see what it looks like when humanity eventually wins and starts to clean up. But overall, I really like the game. I think it was clearly made with a lot of love and attention, not only to the source material, but to the way that the source material was made. And I think it's fun. And it is free, the full edition, on Twitch Prime this month, so grab it. It's a lot of fun, and I'm thinking it'll be even more fun with friends.
I gotta say, this is probably the deepest we're gonna have any of these licensed games go in terms of how many layers there are to this. But like, yeah, World War Z sounds like it well, certainly looks insane. The GIFs that you showed, and I was watching you play some last night as well, and just the literally how you can look in one direction and kind of see just like a road, an empty road, and then you look back and then it's completely unrecognizable because it's just covered in zombies, is wild. Like, I played Back 4 Blood with you, Anthony, since it came out in October. We spent a few months playing it, and that game had, it was that game was extremely intense for me because those are not usually my type of games. But I remember, just how much it did feel overwhelming at times, but compared to World War Z, it feels like it almost felt like there's moments where it feel as overwhelming as it looks like on World War Z. Like, it kind of, they had like these hordes kind of happen, and you'd have zombies coming from all different directions, and that kind of made you feel like it was, there was a lot of, shit going down. But in World War Z, it's like, we're going to give you all the zombies coming from one direction, and they're just going to come in a huge, massive pile. And there was this one thing, I think, that was either in the GIFs or in the footage that I was watching, where they, like, even the way that they move in the game when they're kind of like just slowly climbing up the wall in like this group formation, like piled on top of each other, it is disturbing as shit. It is not at all appetizing for me. I do not want to experience that. But for people who really like zombie games, like, I feel like it seems like it's a really, really fun time and kind of experiencing that stuff. And you even said to me that you thought that this is a better game than Back 4 Blood, and Back 4 Blood has kind of been like the hot item the last few months, just because of when it released and what that game means to people, because of it's the same people who made Left 4 Dead, and so, like, the fact that you think World War Z is even, like, it even hits a higher level, like, that's means a lot for the game, probably.
Yeah, I'm actually glad. I'm going to focus on one thing you said before talking about the rest. I'm glad you mentioned the mound of people, like, rising up, because it reminded me. There's a scene in the book where the characters are in Israel, and Israel has conquered the virus by setting up this giant wall and these, like, cages that protect people. And they eventually do something where they underestimate and kind of forget that the zombies are out there, and a whole bunch of zombies get attracted to the city and climb the wall by climbing on top of each other. And the book describes literally zombies falling down from the top of the city and just spreading. And the movie has that scene too. And it's the still I just shared in chat of, like, the zombies coming up. So I think that the game adding that as a mechanic of zombies climbing things, and it just being, like, baked into the game, like, yeah, of course zombies are going to do that to get up to heights. Like, that makes sense. I think that really shows, like, the kind of attention that they had to the origins of the series, which I really appreciated. And yeah, I think that Back 4 Blood got a lot of momentum because it was from Turtle Rock. And I think that if you really look at it, World War Z didn't get a fair shake at it. I think that if you look at them objectively, they both do really good things, but I think that World War Z got looked over, just generally. It has a lot that really, it does well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else have thoughts on World War Z?
It's a lot. Like, Anthony's, he's so cute because he's so into it. And I watched the film with him, and I know it's one of his favorites. And it really is actually, the one comment that I made was, when I first looked at him watching it, I was like, are you playing Fortnite? And that was just me looking at it. And because he started to, like, build barriers inside of the tunnel, and the mechanic to me registered in my brain like Fortnite. And I was like, you playing Fortnite? And he's like, no, it's World War Z. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's very much like, I can see and understand the appeal of the gameplay. But I literally shit my pants when I am watching it and the hordes start coming over things. I stop breathing. I'm not in it. I'm not there. It's media. But I actually have, like, a visceral reaction to how much it is. And I'm like, okay, enjoy, bye. And then I, like, go and I just do whatever, fucking make fried rice or something. Like, I just just ignore that it's happening. Because it's a lot. It's intense.
Yeah.
I'm also over zombie things generally.
Yes.
But it looks like it's very, very good, and he's having a ton of fun with it. So by a peripheral understanding, it seems like it's worth playing if that's your speed.
Yeah. And that is World War Z. And we are going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to give some predictions for 2022. So stay with us. It has been 2 years since we started Team Chaos Productions, and we would not be where we are today without the help of Anchor. You've heard us talk about it all the time, but let me remind you, this completely free platform gives creators the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your computer or phone. Once done, Anchor will distribute your podcast to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more so you don't have to. You can also make some money on the episodes with no minimum listenership. It's everything you'd ever want in a podcasting platform, so download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Happy podcasting.
Football is back, and so are the virtual ball boys.
Each week, two dudes who have zero experience playing the sport give their analysis of what is happening in the NFL, from weekly recaps to predictions for the weeks to come.
But for Season 3, we're going bigger than ever before.
We'll also have episodes dedicated to the Virtual Ball Boys Football League, our tabletop roleplay game where teams filled with classic animation and video game characters clash on the gridiron. You can find us on Anchor or wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you tune in.
Good night and good ball.
We are back. It is time. Before we move on to our last few license games, it is the beginning of the new year. And I just want to get a read on the room a bit, alright? Because we got some games that are coming out later this year. We got... we have things that we may not know about coming that might be announced this year. You never know. You never know with the world of video games. Shit can, weird shit can happen. And so I want to just ask everyone, what are your predictions, bold or otherwise, for 2022 in gaming? I'm just throwing it to the floor. Whoever wants to take the meat first, go.
Elder Scrolls 6.
Ooh.
Just kidding.
That would be something.
I'll be
Awesome.
collecting retirement. I'll be collecting retirement before it comes out.
Yeah.
Do you think that with Starfield coming out later this year, that Elder Scrolls could get a trailer this year? Because that could happen. I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't trust anybody.
Okay, fair enough.
I have no idea.
You mean Elder Scrolls Skyrim get a trailer? Most definitely.
Well, yeah, definitely Skyrim. Skyrim will get another trailer.
Hey, you know what? They got me to buy it on every single platform, so they're laughing all the way to the bank.
Right. I think I think the big thing that I feel deep down is I don't think Breath of the Wild is going to come out this year.
I can see that happening,
yeah.
Considering the last one got delayed so much. Although this one actually has like a trailer and history behind it, so I can see there being a chance.
I think there is there's definitely a chance, and I think that the fact that they did have something to show, it's not like we're not still like holding on to that like one trailer back in like 2019 whenever that ended up being aired. Like we're not just holding on to that anymore. We have this new trailer that showed off a lot more some of the abilities and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just feel like everything is everything's such a slow rollout because we don't even know what like the name is yet, which is probably like tied to a mechanic they haven't showed yet. But
yeah,
like although what I could see happening is E3 comes around, we still don't have a solid release date, and then they drop a name, drop a trailer, and then say like November 2022, and then that cures everything. But yeah, I think that's like one of those games where I'm like, that probably comes out in 2023. Anyone else want to just throw out anything? Just
Splatoon 3 will be the best Splatoon game.
That would be great.
Yeah,
that would be ideal.
Well, I mean, so far each Splatoon game is better than the last one.
Yeah. Yeah,
by that I mean 2 is better than 1. Right. So I hope the trend continues.
Yes. Yeah.
Metroid Prime.
Ooh.
Yes, that's a good one. Switch Pro. I think that Breath of the Wild 2 needs better hardware. Yeah. I'm not going to attribute the game's delay to Nintendo not having that hardware ready yet, but I think that they would go really well together. And I think that we're seeing games on the Switch start to lag pretty badly, even first-party ones.
Mm-hmm.
One of my general predictions is that we're going to start to see gaming pick back up again. It's been the last 2 years have been incredible in terms of profits being made by gaming companies. And I think by this point, hopefully a lot of them have kind of found their footing with working from home and hybrid working and that kind of stuff. And I think they're kind of seeing that they can take more risks. I really hope.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of the gaming delays that we've seen during 2020 and 2021 will hopefully stop. And the semiconductor shortage, I think, was estimated to stop in 2023. So I think we're still going to see console shortages, which really sucks.
So to that point, then, that's where I don't have a lot of confidence about Switch Pro because of the conductor shortage. I feel like, and when I say conductor shortage, it sounds like I'm like doing like a train conductor. They need one of those guys, like the guy with like the little stripy hat.
Who's gonna drive the trains?
I feel like that. Here's the thing, though. I could see them making a new Switch, but at this point, like 4 years now after the Switch happened, don't you think that there's a chance that they could do, like, just make the Switch Pro the next hardware, the next Switch, meaning like the next step in the generation, because I feel like that might make a lot of sense at this point. I know they're still selling Switches, but like I think a few months ago, like the PlayStation started to overcome the Switch in sales, and I don't know about Xbox, what they're doing, but I could see it where like the Switch might continue to dominate in terms of sales, but I could see where they might end up being like, you know what, this Switch Pro that we had planned, let's just make that the Switch 2, and let's have it be that this is where Mario Kart 9 comes out, and that's where they do like a, I don't know, maybe backwards compatible version of Breath of the Wild 2 at that point. I don't know, like, assuming that Breath of the Wild 2 does release before the next Switch thing comes out. So I don't know, it is very interesting. That whole Switch thing is bizarre.
So it's funny you mentioned the Xbox, because they actually announced yesterday they're done producing Xbox Ones.
Yeah,
they're officially finished. And the thing with the Switch is that it came out 2 graphics generations ago. So literally, if they just made it with the hardware that's even available a few years ago, it'd be immensely more powerful.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. I think it will happen. I just don't know if it's going to be an iteration of the Switch or it's just going to be a new console. So yeah, we'll see. I have a thing where I deep down want now, after experiencing Half-Life and Half-Life 2, those are great games, and I feel like with Half-Life Alyx, that was a signal that maybe Valve isn't completely done with the idea of game development. And what if, just throwing it out there, what if they do at some point announce a Half-Life 3? What if they do that, and then the one thing that came to mind last night, because I was thinking about this, I was like, we know that Aperture Science is in the same universe as Half-Life. Like, what if they just do like a Half-Life 3 with GLaDOS in it? You know what I mean? And they just combine the two. They actually do talk about, and I read up on some plot stuff where like Half-Life does bring up Aperture Science as a rival to Black Mesa, and how they have technology out there, Aperture Science, in the Half-Life universe, where I feel like you could make the argument like, all right, we need to figure out a way to fight back against the Combine. Let's let's go into this Aperture facility that we think is abandoned, and that way get some new technology, not realizing that GLaDOS is there and GLaDOS gonna fuck them up. Like, I don't know, I feel like they could do something wild with it, where I now am with everyone else that for years have been wanting a Half-Life 3 and never have been getting it, because I'm like, man, how fucking cool would it be if they actually, like, pull something like that off? I don't know, like, it's just, I think, I just feel like Valve, it is such a letdown that they kind of have just let that series go, but the fact that they did make it somewhat of a return to it with their VR thing, like, I don't know, I feel like they can do something. I feel like it's in them. We just have to dig deep and get it. So that's my prediction is maybe we'll get like a teaser trailer of Half-Life 3 finally. What do you think of that?
I mean, they have so many really good properties that are just like begging to come back, like Team Fortress. Oh my god, that would save the first-person shooter genre from all of the problems that it's experiencing right now. Portal was incredible. Half-Life was incredible. And they have a lot of story to cover still with Half-Life. You know? It would make me really happy. But at the end of the day, I think that Valve has found success in other things. But I think I'm just too jaded on it. But yeah. I'd be like a kid on Christmas if they announced anything.
Yeah, and for...
Oh, well, that's just emotionally loaded. Yeah, they have to.
They have to. I'm throwing down the gauntlet, Gaben.
That's the thing. That's why I went to Anthony just next. I'm like, I know that if there's one person on this call that wants Half-Life 3 more than anything, it would be Anthony.
Yeah.
But and Gabe and Matt, like, I'm thinking about you guys. I forget if Gabe played Portal, right? I'm almost certain he did, right? Yeah. I forget. Yeah. Like that, if they ended up implementing some sort of Portal elements to Half-Life 3 and bringing GLaDOS back, would you guys play that?
I would play a Portal 3.
Not Half-Life 3, no.
Probably not.
Fair enough. Anyone else want to just throw out anything random for 2022?
Well, like specifically predictions, right?
Yeah.
I predict that there's going to be an Animal Crossing Horizon Zero student loans.
Oh. Wow. There's layers to that.
But not because of Biden.
Fair.
I hope Forbidden West is good.
An Animal Crossing update that introduces college life, so you have to balance your student loans.
Oh my god.
What is wrong with you? Why would you even put that in the universe?
Can I just say, though...
Take that the fuck back.
An Animal Crossing School Edition, I'd be...
School Edition, fine, but, like, we already deal with Tom Nook's capitalist fucking ass to bring in student loans into this. How dare you, Gabe? How dare you?
Degrees. Yes. They're worth quite a bit of money.
Fuck.
Oh my god.
I hate it. I hate it.
Matt, 2 Point Campus is coming out this year. That's good.
Ooh, yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. And I'm with you, Gabe, where Kirby and the Forgotten Land jumped to the top of my list of most anticipated game after I saw that trailer. Like, the fact that all it is like collecting Waddle Dees to create a little cute little town. I'm like, oh my god, this is my shit. I'm so excited.
They gave Kirby a gun.
They did. It's great.
A little fucking blunderbuss.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that game. All right.
Is God of War 2 slated for this year?
Yep.
I'm excited for that because I really immerse I don't remember, I'm sure that I've established this before, but I'm not somebody that can jump around to a few different games. I make one game my entire personality for months at a time. So I am excited for like Horizon and God of War and these things that I will be in for months at a time.
And hopefully Starfield's good, man. I mean, now having experienced Skyrim, and maybe it'll be more like Fallout than Skyrim, but like I'm fascinated to see what that game is. I'm sure we'll find out more later, but that's gonna be interesting. All right, we're moving forward. Thank you guys for dabbling in that. Let us move to the skate parks, but not just any skate parks. It is specifically the skate parks in Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure. Matt, Take it away.
So this is one of my very thoroughly played games from when I was a kid. Me and my brother would play this a lot, not in the way that we maybe should have, because my brother and I did not have a good relationship when we were kids, and I can talk about that later. But
we can unpack that later.
We'll unpack that later. Anyway, Disney Extreme Skate Adventure is basically a Tony Hawk game, but Disneyfied.
Radical.
Yeah, it's literally the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 engine. Extreme Skate Adventure has a lot of 3 different Disney properties that are part of it. Each one has 3 levels, 3 worlds that you can play in, and then they also have 4 characters from each movie that you can play as. The movies are Toy Story, Tarzan, and The Lion King. So some nice variety there. When I was a kid, the Toy Story levels were my favorite. Strangely, I was not that much of a fan of The Lion King until I got to like middle school. So the Lion King levels were actually my least favorite when I was a kid. Surprisingly, knowing who I am as a person now,
extremely surprising. Yeah, that is wild.
To be fair, the Lion King levels weren't designed as well. On top of that, so they weren't as fun to play versus the Toy Story ones. So in Toy Story, I want to list out all of the stuff just because I think it's neat what they included. In Toy Story, the levels, you got to play in Andy's room, you got to play in Pizza Planet, and you got to play in Zurg's homeworld at like the start of Toy Story 2. So those were all cool. Characters, you got to be Woody, Buzz, Jesse, and Zurg himself.
Yeah, I'm watching Zurg grinding it out right now on Pizza Planet.
Yep. The Tarzan, you got to be at kind of their jungle camp. You got to be at the human camp where the where like the human setup and the whole trash in the camp song takes place. That one.
Oh, I love that song.
It's fucking sick. So you get to be there, and then you get to be on Clayton's ship, like at the end of the movie. Clayton, yeah.
Sorry.
Playable characters: Yun Tarzan, Yun Turk. They're all kids since it's a kids game. Like all the characters are the Yun versions of themselves when applicable. Sure. So Yun Tarzan, Yun Turk, Yun Tantor, the elephant, and then a Yun Jane, which they made specifically for the game. That Jane is always an adult in the movie. But
they just made young Jane. Okay, cool.
They just made a kid version of Jane.
Sure.
And then the Lion King, you got Pride Rock, you got the Elephant Graveyard, and then you got Scarce Canyon. Scarce Canyon was actually even though I didn't like the Lion King stages that much, Scarce Canyon was my favorite stage in the game. It was like this really wide open canyon type place with a couple like cool greeneries in it, and the skating challenges were really cool. You got to play Simba. You got Yun Simba, you got to play as Yun Nala, you got to play as a combination of both Timon and Pumbaa, and then you got Rafiki. It was just a fun game. And lastly, you could like make your own skater. Part of like going through the story mode of the game was unlocking a ton of like character customization things for like making your skater. And the kind of hub world for that story mode was a place called Ollywood. Get it?
Yeah.
And there would be portals to all of the different levels, all of the different worlds spread around across Ollywood. So if you were playing the story mode, you were the kid, and you had to be the kid when you were in Ollywood. You couldn't be any of the Disney characters. But then you could be the kid and go to all of the different worlds if you had enough unlocked. Like each world had like a base level, and then when you completed a certain number of missions, you got to the next one, and then another certain number of missions, you got to the next one. So it was like an unlock process. Unfortunately, the only thing that is a little unfortunate is you can only play in the main kind of game, and in most of the free play stuff, you could only play as the characters in their own world. Like you'd only play as the Toy Story characters in the Toy Story, but I think if you did versus mode, you could be whoever and wherever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to play this game. I there is yet to be a skateboarding game that I've been able to really like sink my teeth into, because I love this old snowboarding game, specifically SSX. I know skateboarding is very different mechanically, but I don't know. I always felt like I would really enjoy them, and like I don't know, this game like really like speaks to me in terms of like just exploring and just having a good old time, just skating around. Nothing like super competitive of this yet. I'm sure there's like time trials and like certain challenges that they have you do in the game, but yeah, no, I really wish I was I wish I had this readily available to me, because I would definitely want to try it out, because especially Skatebird is the one I tried recently that just didn't work, didn't do well. I really was hoping for that game to work out well for me, so we'll see. But anyone else have thoughts on Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure?
I the only experience I've ever had with this game was when Matt showed it to me one time when we were hanging out, and that's pretty much the extent of what I know about it.
Yeah.
So there's a very specific reason I did that. I showed you. Do you remember what it was, Gabe?
No, I don't.
So another amazing thing about this game is its soundtrack. Think of the most late 2000 or late 1990s, early 2000s rock that you can think of.
Oh yeah,
that's this game's soundtrack.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird. You would think it would just be like the music from those stages.
No, it's more of a
like music from those movies.
Skateboarding game than a Disney game in that sense.
Okay.
Like totally tubular, man. You gotta listen
exactly
to the rock
that kind of vibe.
music.
So I have not really heard many of these songs outside of this game. So all of the songs that are in this game, like if I ever heard them again, I immediately get transported back to that game and only that game.
Yeah.
And there's two specific examples that I want to talk about. I just looked it up. Apparently, one song is by Smash Mouth.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Of course.
It's Pacific Coast Party is the name of the song.
Yes, this is completely predictable.
Yep. And the other one is the song Sellout, which was the first song my ska band in high school ever played. But the first time I had heard it was this game, was in this game.
I love
it. Precious.
I fucking love it so much. Kyle, we have to crack out SSX at some point, or Shredders needs to fucking come out right now. I don't know why I'm associating snowboarding with skate, but like it's just, I guess, I don't know.
Chris, Chris, I cannot stress to you enough how not weird it is that you're associating the two. Like, they are very visually, like, consuming them. It is very similar, so do not stress too much. Yeah. It's not like you're like, oh my god, that woman's picking apples, I want to snowboard. Like, it's not like it is, like, please, you're okay. Like, don't worry about it.
Oh, one more really, really wild thing about this game was that there were two cross promotions inside this license game. One was from Nokia, where you had to go around to people and listen to their different ringtones on their Nokia phones.
Holy shit.
And the other one was from McDonald's, where you had to deliver people's McDonald's orders.
Fucking
and then
stop.
Your reward for delivering everything was Ronald McDonald's shoes.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, repeat that, because you kind of cut out there. Ronald McDonald's what?
Ronald McDonald's shoes.
Oh, okay.
You got his shoes if you delivered everything.
Like, as something that you can wear?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I feel like they would hinder skateboarding. I feel like they would not help skateboarding.
True.
In real life, sure.
But in this
game,
fine.
It's
enhancing it, you know?
I forgot that I'm not dealing within the realms of actual reality, so yes. Sorry. I apologize. I take back my criticism.
Yeah. No, like, this is a treat. Yeah. I could definitely see, like, just sinking many hours into this. Fucking Nokia. God damn it. That's fantastic. That's insane. All right. There we go. And we have one last game to talk about today. And it's time to go back to classic computer games of the late 90s or early 2000s with My Little Pony, Friendship, or is it, Friendship Garden? Is that what it's called?
Friendship Gardens, yes.
I was going to say Friendship is Magic, but I believe that's the TV show.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Wait,
Friendship Gardens.
Wait. How do you guys know that that's the TV show?
Because
We
it was...
spent a lot of time on the internet.
Yeah, internet did that to us, unfortunately.
Okay, all right. Because I was like, do we have bronies here?
No, fuck that.
Okay, all right, guys.
That's more than
All
enough.
right, all right. Wow, I didn't realize there's so much. I thought we were inclusive. I didn't realize there was so much brony hate.
If it wasn't for the
They're
fact
deliberately... A lot of them are deliberately uninclusive,
Right,
so I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's the problem.
All
is that,
right, that's fair.
Yeah, the bronies kind of masqueraded underneath they were white supremacists, so it's not great. Not great.
Cool. Well, folks, if you've made it this far in the pod, this is either going to be very worth it or very not worth it. So we're going to go. And the last time I played this game, I'm pretty sure was the last century previously to the one that we're living in. So it's going to be a little rough, but we're going to go with it. So we're talking about My Little Pony Friendship Gardens. It is a Hasbro game, licensed My Little Pony game. And yeah, so there's a lot going on here. It's very cute. It is a raising sim game. It came out in 1998. 7?
Yeah, something like
8?
Yeah.
I think I had what I thought were notes here. Now I do not. Hold on. Let me find them. Yep, 1998. It was released. It's Artec Studios, which I don't even know if they're a thing anymore. It came out as a CD game for Windows 95, 98, and also ran on XP, but no additional like PC emulators have really had success trying to run it. Like, it was not meant to exist beyond the fever dream of our 90s childhood. So essentially the game functioned where as a raising simulator, you came into the game, you owned your farm, and you were presented with your own personal pony that you could customize, and then you raised and took care of your pony. It gives you the chance to create one, groom it, play with it, but there are specific things. All right, so you had your own farm, and then you had like a pony village, and in the pony village you could visit other ponies that were established ponies that were no longer underneath the fist of the man. They had like their own lives. So you could go to like the beauty salon, or there was a game cottage, or a dance studio, or the schoolhouse, and it was like this little, you went on your adventures, whatever. So you went and you did these things. I've always been obsessed with the idea of being able to like curate my own little fantasy worlds and like have either pets or children and like name them and do little fun activities with them. So I just am going to bring everybody's attention to some specific things. First of all, if anybody's interested, somebody did do a playthrough and posted it on YouTube. So this is part 1. Part 2 is suggested as a related video. The screenshot directly from this YouTube video is I'm just going to show you, as somebody who was born in 93, this entire aesthetic was literally everything that was ever marketed to me as a young girl in the early to mid 90s. This like pastel pink and blue, and the fonts, and my name in the chat right now is Exposition Butterfly, because that little butterfly that's near the birthday, that is literally follows you and talks to you in the most condescending voice ever throughout the entire game, and like tells you she's essentially the tutorial butterfly. She doesn't have a name. I think she's literally referred to in all the credits as Exposition Butterfly. Like, that is what she is.
That's not just you saying that. That's what the game named her.
I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm pretty sure from what I was able to read, that's what I was getting at. And so like, I actually, when I was doing my research, there's a website called tvtropes.org, which I didn't know existed until now, but I'm happy that it does.
I'm afraid for you.
So this game contains examples of, and one of the things is listed is Exposition Fairy, and the butterfly tells you what to do and where to go. But also some other like tropes, just so I didn't know these were tropes, but anime hair. apparently, is a feature of all of the ponies, and Lightheart is one of the few to have tricolor hair. So somebody actually took the time to do this, which I think is pretty insane. Shout out is a trope, because one of the hairstyles at the hair salon is Princess Leia's buns, apparently. That's the 90s for you. And I'm not even going to read the rest because I'm starting to throw up in my mouth. So we're going to move on. And we're at... I'm now going to show you some screenshots for some things that were... This game was very cute and very wholesome, but reflecting on it as an adult, I have some concerns. So, first of all, just to show you, I believe this is the schoolhouse. Here's a screenshot. I'm absolutely disgusted and impressed by the mixed media dimensional art thing going on here. So your pony and almost everything is presented to you pretty much in 2D, except for some reason they decided to make all of the furniture in the classroom 3D. And I cannot figure out why this decision was made. Like, at all.
The discovered model, computer model.
But it's fine. Yeah, I guess. And this is like very, very clearly like late mid-90s computer modeling. Like the lighting, all of it is out of control, right? So you essentially would show up here and then you got to click around interactively in the room and you moved on. It was a pretty simple game.
I like that the trash can is projecting a shadow one way, but like looks like the other side is also a shadow.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. Like, we're working within, like, they tried. Like, kudos to them. Yes. Good for them. They tried. Something else I'm gonna just there is the peak point of my presentation here that I'm gonna wait till the very end for this. But so this next thing that I'm gonna show you is that you got to play with and exercise your pony, and this picture is also gonna show you where kind of like the interactive menu comes into place. So you'll see that the pony's standing among the field there with her little jumping platforms. I don't know. I was not a horse girl. I don't know what's going on. So she's got her thing where she can trot and jump and whatever. And we're just going to also talk about the multicolored apples in the background. Like, do not eat a blue apple if anybody ever tries to give you one. So this is alarming in and of itself. But now we're going to talk about the treats that you can feed your pony while she's exercising. So apples, totally. Apples, sure. Yes, right? Juice, okay, for a little bit of extra carbs, yes. Giant rainbow lollipops. I don't think horses should ever probably get these, but it's fine. Pink frosted cupcakes and pepperoni pizza. So these are the things that we have available to us to feed our horse for when she is exercising, which is...
Turn the horse into a carnivore. It's what they deserve.
Right, sure, exactly. And then there's also medicine if your horse isn't feeling well, probably because you forced her to eat giant lollipops, pink frosted cupcakes, and pepperoni pizza before she did her hurdles. So then you have the medicine. Wait, like, I don't understand, but it's fine. What, Anthony?
I was just gonna say, like, is there a single thing here that horses really eat?
I think apples. I think that they do eat apples. Yes.
Okay.
But as treats, like they're not.
No, it's not like a regular. Yeah, no. And like we're gonna I'm gonna give them a break and say that like the photo album and the camera are not treats. They're just also existing on this menu. And then you have the hairbrush, which I remember I spent literally hours of my childhood just brushing my fake horse with a fake hairbrush until she sparkled. So just so we know, these are now the people who are running our country, and that this is what they did as children. So there's that, right? And here's also just so you have it. Here's also the cover art for the game. Again, the aesthetic is. It's giving me Lisa Frank. It's giving me Milky Pens. It's giving me Mbop. Like, it's giving me all these things that were my childhood in one.
What is Mbop?
It's a Hanson song.
Oh.
Thank you, Anthony.
You think I know real people music?
Real people music. That's fair. I apologize. I assumed too much. But as far as the gameplay goes, so like I said, like you have your farm where you care for your pony, and then the pony village where you play games. But this is not just an unending. I can't get over the picture. Anthony shared something about it. Just tickling shit out of me. It's just this. Anthony, is that from the YouTube video?
Yeah, the horse just like comes out from behind the barn and makes that stupid fucking face like 3 times in a row.
I don't remember what the context is.
That's right. Actually, no, I fucking remember this because I think I remember playing this. You would log into the game and the horse wouldn't be there. They'd be like, "You have to find the pony."
She
was
playing Peekaboo. I think it's like a Peekaboo game. Yeah,
it's like I want water, and you're like, "Have your juice box." It's like, ah.
Right. So again, like problematic. But so anyway, like not really on the scale of anything that's problematic. It's really low. Like it's not really like it's not like it's culturally problematic or
no, it's
or
problematic
like,
in
political.
how they treat horses.
I mean, I don't know anything besides. I've not consumed any My Little Pony media besides this one game. Like I have no other My Little Pony references. This just happened to be probably a CD that I received for like a birthday when I was growing up, and then I just played it. Like I was not a pony person. But so the end goal of this game is to raise your pony well enough that she gets to go to Ponyland. Okay?
I don't like this.
Right, okay. So I did not I kind of remembered this, but I didn't like explicitly remember it. But there's some sort of mechanic in the game where you can't let your ponies quote unquote rainbow fade. And it's like if you do everything that you're supposed to do for your pony, she has a very bright and strong rainbow. And I don't know if it is that it is like literally the rainbow, or if it's like so the end goal of the whole thing, as I said, is you want to keep her rainbow bright enough. And I can't remember, and I couldn't find it enough to know if they're literally referring to this other rainbow that's in the game. But when you send your pony to Ponyland, you're helping get her to the point where she's going to cross the rainbow bridge.
Oh.
And that is literally how they phrase it. They're like, along the way, you can teach her to jump fences, play games with other ponies, and eventually cross the rainbow to Ponyland. But don't let her rainbow fade away. Now, can I tell you that the dread that set into me, I like had like a flashback, like a traumatic flashback of being fucking heartbroken because I had to, in order to move on with the game, you can only have one pony at once. So like you literally have to like send your pony to Ponyland. But when I tell you this bitch, they literally have the other ponies from the pony village like hanging out at your farm, and then the fucking exposition butterfly guides your pony with her head hanging down over the Rainbow Bridge to Ponyland, which is a castle on a cloud in the fucking sky. They literally have you raise your pony and force feed it pepperoni pizza until it dies. Like, who thought this was something, like, and as a child, I do probably remember being a little traumatized, because I don't like when any, like, pets dying when I was young. Like, nobody wants their pets to die, right? And then, like, this felt like they made you feel like this was your child, and I don't know if I really registered that it was simulate. To me, now, you cannot tell me that even if you gave somebody the screenshot without context, that they would not be like, that horse is fucking dead. Like, that thing's going to horse heaven. Like, in that photo, like, you can't unsee it. Like, with all my context that I have as an adult, that's a dead fucking horse going to Ponyland, which is apparently hell or heaven in the pony universe. I don't know. She ate a lot of pizza, so I don't know if that's I don't know if that's like a moral thermometer for horses or not. Like, I don't know what's going on. But now as an adult, I'm like, this is fucked up. This is super fucked up. And the fucking butterfly only has eyes, so its expression never changes. Like a demonic freaking fairy, like it's just like Reaper. And if I remember correctly, because I definitely got this screenshot from the game, but I don't. Oh wait, I do. Okay, wait, hold on. How can I? So I'm just gonna share this with you guys because I feel like this is something that's worth experiencing in real time. Like, she literally says, "You've done a great job bringing up this little pony," before she starts telling you that you have to send her over the bridge.
I hate how this butterfly talks.
To adventures in other lands is what it's just said. Click on the rainbow.
If you're sure you're ready to let her go, click on the rainbow. It's like, what the fuck?
The "are you sure" is the worst part.
I know. So, like, I'm just saying that this is really...
Everyone has accidents sometimes. Make sure you fill out the insurance forms.
Imagine if the comments weren't turned off.
Can I just say the fuck, and then the butterfly being like, "Goodbye, little pony. Goodbye. It's just like, oh my god, the satanic fucking insect. Like, what is happening?
And then, like, can I tell you that this is so, like, bizarre to me? Because now, as somebody who's, like, an adult and also, like, training to be a licensed mental health professional, this is traumatic. Like, this is in the DSM. Like, this is a problem. So, like, then they immediately, like, the little checkered pony squares come up, and there's the little hourglass. And it literally, there's nothing else after that scene. It just goes right to making a new pony. Like, they're fucking recyclable. And I'm like, what is this? It's just so weird in hindsight now. So weird. But I literally cannot understand how they do everything they can. It's like the meme where it's like, tell me you have a shopping problem without telling me you have a shopping problem. This is like, tell me that we're killing off your pony without telling you that we're killing off your pony. They did everything that they could do to make it seem like it was getting killed or dying without actually saying it. But, like, there's you can't get around it. You can't get around it.
Wait, it's a metaphor for death? Always has been.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like, and it's not like they even do anything where they tell, like all they're like is like, you've done everything you can for this pony, and now it's time to let her go. It's like it puts it all on you. Like, you are the person who's running the guillotine. Like, it's you. You were the person who's sending this pony to the glue factory.
You've given it.
Oh my God.
Wow. You gave this horse too much cheese, and now it's time for you to go.
Right. Like, all right, so this is what I mean when I was like, this was either really going to be worth your time or it really wasn't, but I'm so glad that you let me still be the last person to deliver this.
Yeah, no, in retrospect, I'm glad that this is the decision that I made.
This is my licensed game for you all. I've played other licensed games, but after I sat down and really thought about it and re-experienced the death butterfly leading the pony over the rainbow, I just needed to share this with everyone. Everybody must know what Hasbro did in 98.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bro.
I do want to say, when you mentioned it in the beginning, our tech is no longer in existence.
Well, yeah, because they were fucking killing horses. So, like,
the
what
last game they made was called The Undergarden.
No! Are you serious?
I am not kidding you.
Shut the fuck up. We gotta look this up. Because this is called Friendship Gardens. That's the name of this game.
That is the funniest thing.
It's an Undergarden is a casual Zen game that challenges players to explore beautiful underground caverns filled with strange life forms, sound, music, and plenty. That is the butterfly once it goes to hell. That's what it looks like. Once it transitions from your farm to the underworld, that's what it looks like.
Your ponies are waiting.
We gave Gabe nightmares. He's not gonna recover. It's over. Anyway, thanks for listening to the Coop this week.
They also made Cuber, apparently.
Tell your wife and miss her meatballs.
Almost done with the podcast. Not much use in beating a dead horse anymore.
Yeah.
Stop.
Oh my god. God damn it. That's good. All right. Well, that's it. Yeah, that's how you ended off. God damn it.
I was midway through drinking. Oh my god.
How do we even describe describe this for audio listeners, what has just happened in our chat.
It's okay. We don't have to. We can let them think.
All right, yeah, we're now
Or
we're
you
just
can
sharing
cut this
screenshots of the just look up just look up on Undercard and what on you. All right, guys. All right. If I hope Walsh listens back to this so that way he can then go back into the chat and just experience what we have experienced today. Because oh my god. All right. Well, next month we want you guys to prepare the character that you find very attractive. All right? And that could just be a romantic way. You could just say that you just really, really like this character. You're just attracted to the idea of the character. It doesn't have to be romantic. It could be platonic. It could just be like you just love this character so much in that it's for Valentine's Day. So you get where we're trying to go for here. All right? So that's February.
But if you want to get thirsty,
this is a safe space for that. We are allowing that to go down. So however you guys want to approach that, you can. And if you are listening, if you want to send in your thirsty pics, you can. All right, thank you.
Where do they send them in?
So...
Where do they send in their thirsty pics?
Oh, you can send it to @the Gaming Coop with hashtag the Gaming Coop. Either way.
On Twitter?
Yeah, on Twitter.
Okay. All right, I'm just letting the people know at home. Maybe this is their first episode.
Yeah. I think
it was quite the first episode.
Yeah, if this was your first episode, I really hope you enjoyed it.
Sorry.
No, this was something. Thank you all so much for listening. Game on. The Gaming Coop is brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Follow us on Twitter @The Gaming Coop or follow our other work @Team Chaos Pods.